Something just hit my eye. Oh. What is this? So, like, I felt like I just felt a rock hit my forehead. Are these cones? I think there's cones falling off of the tree. The wind right now is, it's 50 miles per hour. Almost. Pretty much. Or if it's not, it's approaching 50 miles per hour. I gotta... It's wet. But... There's an atmospheric river right now. And it's gonna be quite windy like this for the next day and a half, I think. Yeah, the clouds are zipping by. The wind may not be noticeable as much on the phone, but it is definitely windy, and certainly I do think it is notable. This wind is strong enough to be to be recorded. I think it's fair to say that when a big massive gust comes, you'll notice it. Our redwood tree is swaying right now. I will cover the camera with my hand so that the water does not get on it. Yeah, it's definitely, it's too warm for hail. So it could, those things hitting me in the head definitely were not hail. And if it was hail, I would have certainly felt it much worse than that. However, it is 55 degrees and it's quite chilly. As the wind chill is probably 39. No, it's not. Not yet. At least. I came out here because 5 minutes ago, there was a 50-mile-per-hour gust, and it was really cool. Here comes one. It's less than 50 miles per hour. And sometimes it's got to pass over the right place. Sometimes the strongest part of the gust kind of goes in between trees, and sometimes it hits them head on. So the little blobs of air that are moving fast, those are gusts, and they're in the shape like this, but they're all randomly placed. They're not in a specific array. They're not just coming in lines. It's like waves out in the ocean. They're not forming lines. They're just forming random peaks and valleys, and that's kind of how the wind acts. So the wind speed at this moment is 30 miles per hour. Yeah. I would know if it was above that. I would know if it was 50. And it's crazy that this is half as And I've talked about this day, March 21st, 2023. I've talked about that day a lot because that was the strongest wind I've ever felt. 65 miles per hour here. Well, not that I felt in total, but it was very, very powerful. And you could tell on the camera that it was insane. I always miss that day. If I had the time and the ability to go up onto the ridge, and show you what it is like up there, which is above 1,000 feet. Yeah, I would do that. I'd probably take an electric scooter up there, but I don't have a scooter, and also I probably won't ride one up the hill because it's a very sketchy hill. I heard that gusts, they last around 20 seconds. Is this a gust? I was thinking these little bursts of, like the tiny bursts of wind are what the gusts are. See, now it's swaying. That was probably, could have been 45. I have no idea. I think that was, you'd hear it whipping through the foliage if it was above 40. But if I turn it on 0.5, you can't see shit, so. I'm gonna stand by this little light so that my mom's watching TV so that she can see me. Because I should be in bed, but this is something I don't want to miss if it gets exciting. You gotta look at the, how fast the foliage in the trees is going like this, making waves in the wind, and then picture a car driving at speed, and then compare that to it driving past the tree, and does that look like 30? Does that look like 50? I don't know. But mom's going to bed now. I was told to make sure that the door is locked when I enter the house. So I assume that means that I could stay out here, which is fine, as long as it doesn't start raining cats and dogs. Maybe if it does, I could go under the tarp over there. I would consider this a low-end to moderate atmospheric river. I think it would just be a moderate atmospheric river. Atmospheric river, because it's not really, there's not, no, it's not a whole lot eventful. The wind is not consistently above 40 and like right now the wind is 16 miles per hour probably hitting my face. Now it's probably 10. It just feels like a really, really light breeze right now. It just dipped down to 5. So it's a very it's scattered. It's not very concentrated. And it's not very bold either. So the impact of it is very, it's diluted. Whereas in 2023, the first day of spring, I saw trees down. There were lots of trees that fell over. And because I bet on the ridge behind this oak, you can see the horizon. And I bet up there were tons of trees that fell over. But I think the only trees that are gonna fall over are like probably right near the coast, but I don't know why they wouldn't have fallen over earlier, because the trees there are usually very stiff and they don't move that much. That feels like 25. I could be slightly underestimating it, but I'm just trying to be realistic. The most ideal atmospheric rivers are ones that happen when it's usually like 10 degrees colder than it is now. And that's what brings California very healthy winters. And that's what happened all throughout the winter of 2023. Here's a strong one. It's staying perfectly still. You hear the roaring? That's what 50 miles per hour sounds like. 3 minutes ago, the wind was 5 miles per hour, and now, it just comes in little periods of gusty winds where they come with multiple gusts based on my observations. Maybe that 20 to 30 second amount of time, they are the gusts and they just have these little up and downs. But I don't think that's how it's measured. I think these little bursts that last a few seconds are the gusts. And on that gust, that wind, I actually saw it on the camera. It reaches a point where it does actually become noticeable. It does actually look like it's blowing very hard. In southern San Francisco, Half Moon Bay and Mendocino, especially Mendocino, because they get hit hard by stuff like this. The wind is approaching 70 miles per hour. But I should take cover because it is now raining. The intervals between these gusty half minutes can vary. They can be right up back to back, or minutes and minutes apart. You'd think the storm is over, and then it just keeps going. By the end of this video, I hope to have wet enough hair that I can shake it out. always fun. I think it's either pouring or moderately raining. I can't tell. I can feel them hitting my coat, so the drops are quite large. They're very cold as usual. It sucks that water has a high heat capacity because that makes it so cold. Even if the rain is warm, it just takes a while for the water to heat up. I'm gonna have to hang my coat up to dry. This is not waterproof. I don't want to go out here in my t-shirt though. Oh, it's swaying. I do sometimes have a problem. I have had this problem only a few times because I realized it I caught on to it pretty soon. The footage will stop on its own, and my phone will turn off if I don't pause the video, unpause it. If it's paused for too long, the phone will turn off. So sometimes I like to just do a bunch of quick, far spaced bursts of frames, and then that just kills some time. There are rain curtains, sweeping by. When you can see the rain blowing off of the roofs, that is when it's actually getting quite strong. You can see, oh, it's because someone was pulling onto the street. The rain was illuminated. Oh, but the light was off. It just turned off. Oh, that's hard rain. It's pouring. It's officially pouring. I wish I could show you what the creek looks like, but I can't. There are more opportunities. While I wait for a gust, I would like to show you my cat. Oh, the door is locked. That's the unlocked door. The cat is waiting to be let in. You can see. Oh, there's another cat. There's our other cat. And then they're both. There's one there, and there's one there. Whoa, he's running. Oh. They're making mad dashes. I'm gonna let them in. What are they doing? They have the feistiness. another gust. Let's see. That was 5 minutes after the last one, I think. I'm not sure. Probably 4 minutes. We're approaching a half an hour, and I would like to end the video on a strong gust instead of having all the strong gusts happen in the middle and then you just like hanging. It's always the best to end the videos with some fun, I guess. So right now the wind is, it feels 10 miles per hour. That's what it feels like. Yeah, it's really, really calm right now. It's just 10 miles per hour, maybe even, it's actually less. 9 miles per hour. Now it's probably 12. I don't have a gauge with me, so I really... This is all just uneducated guess. So when the next gust, after the next gust, I am ending the video. And it has to, and hopefully it's gonna be strong. Sometimes it appears that the rain kind of suppresses the wind. The light just turned on. If it rains hard enough, you'll be able to see it lighting up the air. There's something. Now the wind is 20. I can see the visibility dropping. It's a bit hazy from just 100 yards away. Oh, the cat's on the counter. That's a no-no. Here's how hard it's raining if you wanted to know. And there's our Japanese maple. Oh, I think it's better like that. So you can see how dense it's raining. It's not very visible like that. I feel like I just came out of the shower. Each downpour probably adds a few millimeters to the level of the creek downtown. But, you know, in between then it lowers, so it's not steadily rising. I just this umbrella, I just felt something drip, and I'm standing right in the middle of it, so I think there's a hole. I don't see a hole because it's dark outside. I got over my fear of storms at a very young age. I was 3 years old. And that's when I started appreciating lightning and storms. And so I'm usually more fascinated by, harsh weather than most people are. You know, my mom is a summer kind of person. She's a San Diego weather kind of person as well. My dad he doesn't have a preference because he's gone on backpacking trips and all sorts of places. My brother doesn't care, and me, I love snowy winters, but I don't like. And well, because I do bonsai, I want to I'll be able to keep them outside. So having winters that I get snow, but they're not too cold that I have to bring all of them inside. Those are the winters I like, such as Willamette Valley in Oregon. And speaking of temperature, I got let down this morning. Yesterday I saw the forecast and it said we were going to get to 34 after Christmas. And this morning it updated. It said you're only gonna get the 40. So I was hoping for a hard frost, and that's not gonna happen. Random thing. I just remembered. I was I was I was told to clean up the hose to reel it in, um, like a month ago, and it took me that long to remember it again. If I could describe my phone like it's a wallet right now, I would call it it would be an impulsive spender. The 0 on the frugal scale. And by that, I mean the battery. Don't worry. I'm not going broke. I just checked I'm at 50%. There was a small time frame. It was like 2 hours. Two hours. Maybe 1 hour. Where the wind was going to be at its peak. I think we have passed that time. But that just means that the wind gusts are going to be farther apart. You know what? While we wait, if it ever happens, I just want to show you a few of my trees. The catnip still has its pink fall colors. You can see it very well. I collected some snowberry cuttings from next to the street. And they're native. They're in the honeysuckle family. But I also planted some in here. If anyone's awake in that house, they'll probably think I'm a maniac. That doesn't bother me. I'm not sure if I've given a specific update. I can't turn my phone, I can't face my phone down, but here's my, this is my rough leaf aster. It's a Eurybia radulina. I think next year, it looks like it's healthy enough. I think it's gonna put a spike up next year. Hopefully it flowers. Before I forget, I want to show you some of the plants that I recently worked on. So there's this. Those are the ficus cuttings in here with the rock over them. Looks like one of the pots blew over here. My redbud seedlings never got any fall colors. And here is proof. That's its peak fall colors, and how I can tell is that the leaves are just popping right off. I don't know why that is, but they're healthy seedlings, and hopefully next year I can, these will get fall colors. I can't do anything about it. I can't change them at all, but you know, it's just a matter of luck. My currant, all my currant cuttings are peak fall colors, which is nice. They peak on the Christmas. My hawthorn has gotten its latest fall colors in its entire lifetime so far, but it has its buds set for next year. I think I want to keep it. The hawthorns are so nice, and I have such big plans for it. My dogwood is still green, but here are my sweet gums, and they're doing pretty well. They're not wilting. There's no ill effects. However, I will find that out for sure in spring. Here's the elm that I potted up. I stripped all the leaves off of the part that I'm gonna cut off, and then I left them on the part that I'm gonna keep. And then when these leaves fall off, I'm going to create I'm gonna strip the bark off in a ring right here. That's one way to kill it. Maybe slowly, instead of just chopping it right off. I think that's a good idea. But I'll have to prune these branches away so that the growth has room to spread out. My alder it's holding on to its last 10 leaves, probably, and none of the ornaments have fallen off. These are just clips I found in my goth bin where I keep all my jewelry and the chains and buckles and stuff. The Phacelia rosettes are beginning to wither. They were in the annual section at the DVC a horticulture area, so I don't know how long they're gonna last, but they have lots of seeds and I hope they sprout. The manzanita cutting has not had any ill effects yet. It's only been 2 days, I think. But no, actually, it's been one. Probably. But it's so wet that I think it's gonna take a very long time for it to show any signs of not succeeding. My bay laurel has recently pushed out a flush of growth and it has stopped growing. And I don't know, you can't really tell, but my Hinoki cypress is getting its winter colors. It just started, so I'll show you another update of that during the daytime when you can see better. The Kentucky bluegrass lawn that I'm gonna plant around my Bradford pear is, it has grown again, and I think it might need another trim. It's soaking wet. A cat broke off while peeing here and raked the soil to cover it up, but in the process it broke off one of the stems of the snake plant. However, it had already rooted into the place, so it is not going anywhere. Anything else? So here's a better view of the whole setup. I defoliated. I'm not gonna keep these arroyo willows because I already have this one here, which is looking so nice. Very tree-like. These ones are also tree-like. I can give them away possibly, or I can plant them somewhere else. Maybe I'll return them to the creek possibly. But I kept the leaves on the red willow because that's one I want to keep too. I pruned this possible a cypress. I'm not sure. If it's a cypress, it's probably a Monterey cypress, which is cool because they get really cool old, very old looking bark and they spread out. They look really nice. There's so many examples of old Monterey cypresses along the coast of California. My ash is completely bare. I pruned my weeping willow after it had lost its yellow leaves. I think that's it. Here's an update to the Valley Oaks. They're not much. They're both past their peak fall colors. My Lonicera involucrata bonsai, pre-bonsai, has not gotten fall colors yet. My last update, really quick before I head inside, is my buckeye. The new leaves that grew in after I pruned it on the equinox are finally falling off. There's actually one more update remaining. I removed one of the branches on my Chinese pistache because I want to develop the branches upward. I don't want them to start going downward or fanning out yet. So that is all for today. We didn't end the video with a gust, but I ended the video with an update. So that is all for today. Thanks for joining me here among the watch poplars.